It's 2020. I'm 40 years old, and I'm sitting in the salon chair. I reach down for my phone and see a message from my good friend Nina, who had just sent me a picture of me when my hair was permed. And it reminded me of how far I had come. I grew up in Maryland in a well off neighborhood with a middle class family where playtime and ice cream trucks are the highlight of my day. I'm oblivious to a world where I'm hated because of the color of my skin, where police brutality and murder of innocent Black men and women is the norm, and where hairstyles influence social and economic status. My parents are well-respected medical professionals, where politics and status are measured by the illusion of perception, and where playing dress up in fancy dresses, attending etiquette classes, and frequent hair appointments to maintain my coarse hair is the trend. Now, my hair appointments are organized around humidity forecasts, pool parties, and extracurricular activities in fear of my hair looking too poofy. I felt ugly on most days and beautiful on the days when my hair was outwardly expressed as a silky, European-looking full head of hair. For generations, we straightened our hair. And so for me, at the time, it just felt normal. I'm 8 years old when I experienced my first press and curl. I can smell the metal from the hot comb that permeates the air. See my mom prop the stool down next to the kitchen stove. Hear the sizzle of the comb as it grazes my coarse hairline as I squirm and pull away to prevent the comb from scorching my neck. The result, 5 hours later, is a silky full head of hair with long, beautiful curls. Now, between the washing and the blow drying and the straightening and the curling, my hair, this was an all-day event. And it was brutal. But to fit in, somehow it felt worth it. Now, just before bed, I'd grab a silk scarf from my dresser drawer, run the teeth of a wide-tooth comb through my hair in a circular motion, bobby pinning loose ends in place before carefully tying it down. As soon as I get into bed, I fall asleep with my head cupped in the palm of my hand, head nodding to and fro throughout the night to prevent my curls from falling. The term for this is called sleeping pretty. Now, sleeping pretty had its advantages, but it certainly had its disadvantages. I often woke up groggy in the mornings, but my hair was cute. It was exhausting, to say the least. So it was no surprise when my mom introduced me to a more permanent hair application, something we like to call creamy crack. Now, everybody knows that once you go creamy crack, there's no going back. And I was too excited. So here I am, 10 years old, legs swinging from the salon chair, flipping through and dog-earing the pages of the latest and greatest hairstyling books. I think I dog-eared at least enough styles for an entire year. Now, Pam, my stylist, who was fashionably running late, comes running in the door, apologizing as usual. She quickly grabs a towel and cape, wrapping them around my neck, snapping them in place. She then parts my hair and greases my scalp. "This is the day," I said. Pam smiles and says, "You're excited?" I replied, "I sure am." As Pam began to apply the white creamy substance to my virgin hair, I began to think of all the pool parties and the sporting events I avoided growing up, and the fact that I would never feel ugly again. As Pam was finishing up the final touches, she spun my chair around towards the mirror so I could gaze upon my new look. Y'all, I couldn't grin any harder if I tried. Never mind that my scalp was burned from the perm. My hair was fried, dyed, and laid to the side. Honey, I was fine. Now, over the course of my life, I used to use a variety of hair straightening techniques, including press and curl, perms, hair straighteners, and weaves. And over the course of that time, I always felt like I was trying to fit in. Now, with the past and present day events, I became insanely curious about culture and my history, and I found myself eagerly searching for answers. What I found was that I am magic. My hair is magic. So why am I trying to wash me away? So here I am in my room watching a YouTube video my mom sent me on the history of African hair. African hairstyles are an expression of beauty, spiritual devotion, social status, and during slavery was used as our guide to freedom. Before marriage, Igbo girls in present-day Nigeria used clay, ground coil, and palm oil to shape their hair into horn that shapes towards their brows. In Kenya, young men would spend hours getting their hair elaborately styled to demonstrate completion of initiation rites for adulthood. Now, when we were taken into slavery by the Europeans in 1444, our hair was cut, and speaking our language was forbidden. This was done to break down our foundation of power, which is built in culture. When our hair started to grow back, we began to communicate again through a style called cane rows or corn rows, relaying messages of escape to freedom. Now, when slavery ended to prevent us from growing in power as a community, our oppressors created a new form of oppression, deeming Afro-textured hair unprofessional, unattractive, and unclean. To survive economically, we found ways to fit in through hair straightening tools, chemically based products, and weaves, just as I did, and my mom did, and her mom did before. Now, this type of oppression is still being used to this day. However, what I found is that the issue isn't so much about straightening my hair, but my why for straightening my hair to begin with. I was perplexed with what I had learned, and honestly, I was a bit angry, which was noticeably apparent after a family trip I took a couple years ago. So here I am, 38 years old in the Caribbean with my family. I just stepped off the elevator. I'm walking through the self-opening double doors, and I see 3 little white girls sitting in vendor chairs getting their hair cornrowed. Immediately, I felt rage. I thought, just pull a little harder. How dare you take on a culture you tried to destroy? And then suddenly I hear my loctician say, Steph, go ahead and lean back into the bowl. Still upset, I lean my head back as my loctician turned the water on, and then it hit me like a ton of bricks. I have unknowingly been programmed to hate myself, to hate my own. I began to think of my own history with hair straighteners, but mainly my why. I realized that I started my sister lock journey 3 years ago because I wanted a deeper relationship with myself. How ironic that this story writing journey would lead me to this spiritual awakening. To know the past is to know the present, and to know the present is to know myself. And only then can I recreate a new story, one of liberation and of love for my own culture.